Bayonetta 2 sucks! This game completely sucks! Bayonetta 2 is an absolutely embarrassing sequel to the 2009 original Bayonetta game, okay? And that game, the first one, is a action hack and slash type of game, and that came out on multi-plats, you know, it came out on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. But Bayonetta 2, this pathetic pile of sewage manure, this garbage game, is a Wii U exclusive. It's a Wii U exclusive. How pathetic is this game? How embarrassing. And you know what? It sucks for the publisher and basically the developer, I should say, because the publisher is Nintendo now, but the developer is Platinum Games. These idiots released Bayonetta 2 as a Wii U exclusive. Of course it's going to suffer in sales. Nobody gives a crap about Bayonetta 2, aside from the very small few, you know, couple of million Wii U owners that have an actual Wii U. Because nobody really gives a crap about Wii U anymore. This is really embarrassing. I mean, Wii U comes out, it has no games, and then Bayonetta 2 is promised to be an exclusive for the system. It's finally out now, late 2014. The game, it's funny because this game's already been out in Japan for like a month. It came out in Japan last month, September 20th, 2014. And so it finally drops today, actually, October 24th, 2014. And this game is a pile of sewage. This is easily one of the worst sequels I've ever seen. Number one, it's on the Wii U. On a pathetic Wii U last-gen console. It's a last-gen console. I'm gonna say this again. The Wii U plays more and it has the specs of a last-gen console. It's got the engine of a last-gen console. It's closer to the PS3 and the 360 than the Xbox One and the PS4. It's not even a fucking 8th-gen console. It's more of a last-gen console, but because Nintendo keeps fucking releasing outdated systems and outdated technology, they try to pass it off as 8th gen, but it's not. So of course Bayonetta 2 is limited. This game is limited. This game is just an extension of the first Bayonetta from like 5 fucking years ago. The first one came out in 2009, which I still remember that. I got the game on the PS3. You know, I haven't really played it that much. It's okay. It's not a bad game, but it's just not my cup of tea in terms of its style and its humor and its weird, you know, satirical, tongue-in-cheek style. You know, I'm not a big fan of that. It's all right. It's all right. It's nothing compared to like God of War or Devil May Cry or something like that. But I still remember when the first one came out in late '09, I think it was, and even the commercials, you know, the TV advertisements for the game, and that fucking LaRue In For The Kill song, you know, I'm going in for the kill, I'm doing it for the three, and it was, I think it was the dubstep remix, if I'm not mistaken. But that was a catchy commercial, and it made it look stylish and everything, and the game itself was probably an okay hit in terms of commercially, in terms of its success. So we now have Bayonetta 2, and there's really nothing I can say really good about this game. It's just an extension of that first game. This game stinks. It's just a freaking pathetic rehash of the first Bayonetta. And I'm taking a look at the Metacritic scores as well. You know, I'm taking a look at the meta scores on this. And of course, you got the Nintendo Wii U D-Riders on this, trying to pass it off as, you know, oh, this is a really... I mean, look, it's got a 91 on Metascore and a 9.3 user score. But these are the same game-hungry idiots that's been craving for games like this. This is what you Wii U tards and Nintenderps and all you idiot losers that only stick to Nintendo systems have been missing out on for many years. You guys don't have God of War. You guys don't have the first Bayonetta. You guys didn't get the Devil May Cry. You guys don't get GTA. You guys don't have Darksiders. Well, I think the Darksiders 2, Darksiders 2 of course came out on the Wii U, but my point is that these earlier games, you know, the first Darksiders, you know, these titles don't come out on the frickin' Nintendo systems until many years later, if at all. And there's so many other multi-plats and amazing titles that Nintendo fails to get, that they're only getting now. Bayonetta 2 is a last-gen game. It is the Bayonetta franchise is a last-gen franchise from the 7th generation. The first one came out half a decade ago. 5 years ago, Bayonetta 1 came out. And okay, Bayonetta 2 has some improvements. It's got some improvements. That's not a big deal. You're supposed to expect some improvements in a sequel. If it doesn't have any improvements in it, or some slight tweakings here and there, then what the hell's the point of having a sequel? Of course you're going to want to try to improve it a little bit. God of War 2 was a little bit better than God of War 1. You know, Halo 2 was a little bit better than Halo 1, and so on and so on and so forth. That's just common sense. Alright? And Bayonetta 2, let's talk about the problems. Okay, let's go with some of the problems that the users have. Alright, Catherine Horrocks, this is by Catherine Horrocks, gave it a 2. Gave it a 2 out of 10. Oh my goodness. Alright, so this person said, a male gaze fantasy as welcomed by Gamergate enthusiasts. This game is the definition as to why feminism is necessary in the world of gaming. Bayonetta is a powerful woman, yes, but this game glorifies hypersexuality, promotes brutal violence, and fills the mind of young boys with lust and imperfect fantasies of what women really are. This game is a device to delusion the male audience to the fact that they're being played for cattle headed to the slaughterhouse. I can only hope that in the near future, games like these become banned and possessors of such imprisoned for supporting the crime of misogyny. So basically, this person is against the sexuality of this game. I mean, that's what Bayonetta is. Bayonetta has always been about fan service. You know, they've always been about titillation and showing off the over-sexualized characters. That's a cheap pop. In the industry, that is what is known as a cheap pop. Basically, they're using sex to sell instead of actual substance. That was involved with the first one, so I can't really criticize that too much in terms of, oh, it's over-sexualized, but it is very cheap. It's unoriginal, it's hackneyed. Any developer can make a game character, a protagonist, a very sexualized, skimpy character, very overtly sexualized, and a fan service. Look at past games that I've talked about before. Lollipop Chainsaw, you know, games like Tomb Raider. Maybe not so much the reboot, but the 90s version, especially of Tomb Raider. Even the newer Tomb Raider has its share of fan service. And you take a look at these female characters, the DOA franchise, Dead or Alive series. It's a perfect example in terms of fighting games. So women have always been sexually objectified in these fucking video games, because games are marketed predominantly to a male demographic. It's a male demographic. And so in that sense, I can sort of understand the over-sexualized criticism, the criticism of that glorification, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I get it, I understand it, you know. I mean, I'm sitting here playing GTA 5, and there's I'm taking a look at the strip club scenes, and that's, I like it, you know, I'm a fan of it. I'm sure Bayonetta 2 is nowhere near GTA 5's sexuality and the naked scenes and the nudity. So that's the problem with Bayonetta 2, is that even though it's sexualized, it doesn't even really push the boundaries that much. And that was the problem with the first one. The first one was just pure teasing. It was just a big fucking tease. And that was the problem with the first one. It was just like, okay, it's just cheap fan service for pathetic, like, you know, preteen kids and young kids that haven't... Do you not have access to the internet? Do you not have access to online videos? XXX Movies Online has way more smut and filth and depravity when it comes to sexualization. So, it is a 2 out of 10, so the person gave it a 2 out of 10. I mean, this game sucks for different reasons. I got other reasons why this game stinks. It's just not that great. Velvet Meds gave it a 0. Velvet Meds. Everything about this game is annoying, unbearable. The grating voices and music, the ugly visual design, Bayonetta herself is the worst female character design I've ever seen in a game. The story is so bad you might as well skip it altogether, and the gameplay is straight up button mashing with no depth or fun whatsoever. Avoid it. Well, that was the problem with the first one too. The first one was very simplistic, and it's not a complicated action game. You're just kind of button mashing your way through the entire thing. And there's way too many freaking cutscenes too. The first one had so many fucking cutscenes. And of course this one has, this one has its share of its own problems. Take a look at this. The first Bayonetta, with tighter pacing and the removal of sudden mid-cinematic insta-fail QTEs. So they tried to work their way around that, so they tried to change certain things around here. This is a game that you can complete in 10 hours, but play and replay. It's a masterclass in combat design in video game variety. So that's more of a positive thing. That's more of a positive. So some people like the combat design. Several reviewers agreed that the game was an improvement on its predecessor, despite acknowledging that its combat mechanics were largely unchanged. There you go. And that's the problem with the stupid combat system. This is what these idiots don't realize. It's just a rehash. Bayonetta has always been a cheap, it's a cheap game. It's not, there's no depth to it. There's no variety to it. It's really not impressive. There's nothing else I can say. This game isn't anything special. The game is incredibly disappointing in terms of a sequel. It's on the crappy Wii U, of course. I mean, put it this way. 2 or 3 months from now, just a couple of months from now, this game is going to be largely forgotten. Number one, I mentioned it already, it's on the Wii U. Nobody gives a crap about the Wii U. This is going to be one of those cheap bragging rights that the Wii U has. It's going to be for the next, maybe few weeks, the people on the Wii U, people that own the Wii U are going to be bragging about, oh, we got Bayonetta 2. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's an awesome game. Nobody gives a crap. I can't imagine anybody wanting to promote or buy any merchandise from Bayonetta. I mean, do you see anybody around here that has maybe a Bayonetta action figure or a Bayonetta t-shirt, somebody wearing a Bayonetta 2 t-shirt? What kind of a loser does that? Nobody has that. Bayonetta isn't really that marketable, aside from its sexuality. And that's more of a niche audience. That's like young adults and kind of, really that's what it is, like pervy guys. Perverted, desperate gamers that have no lives. These dudes sitting in their frickin', little rooms and just kind of fantasizing over Bayonetta. It's just like, who cares? There's plenty of other outlets for that. And there's not much else to say with Bayonetta 2. The game stinks, because at the end of the day, you might as well just get Bayonetta 1 and mixed with, get like GTA 5 and watch the strip club scenes and play Dead or Alive Extreme 2 and watch those girls. It's really nothing. If you want some action hack and slash type of gameplay as well, I mean, get Ninja Gaiden or something. Ninja Gaiden or Devil May Cry or something like that. I'm gonna read a few more. These are from the actual professional scores, so these are not the user, random, nameless user. Level, Czech Republic, from Czech Republic, gave it a 60 out of 100. Over the top yet unimaginative. It's unimaginative. At least the fights are dynamic, and the game itself can be a breath of fresh air, considering what else is available on the Wii U. So they were basically like, it's an unimaginative piece of crap. It's really nothing impressive, but it's a breath of fresh air compared to everything else that's on the crappy Wii U. So it's like, at least it's something compared to the other crappy Wii U games. I guess on that note, you can say that, well, at least it's not another Mario game or another Mario Kart crap game. Game Revolution gave it a 70. 70, that's not an impressive score. While I didn't spend much time in this mode, I did come to laugh more and more at Bayonetta's awkward animations and slightly less than believable narrative shifts. Alright, well that's about it with Bayonetta 2. This game is not impressive. You could find way better games out there. Get God of War 3, get, Darksiders, the first one. Any of the Devil May Cry games, except for maybe Devil May Cry 2. DMC2 wasn't as good as the other ones, but still. And what other, like, action hack and slash? I'm trying to think. I mean, even the Zelda series. If you own a Wii U, I mean, you might as well get any of the Zelda games that they have out there. Probably has a better story than Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 was a disappointing pile of garbage. Nobody's gonna remember this in like 5 months. Nobody cares about Bayonetta 2. Nobody did. Nobody cared about it when they announced that it was available on the Wii U only, as a Wii U exclusive. This thing is done, the franchise is finished, and I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the road, they release Bayonetta 2 as a multi-plat on the PS4 and the Xbox One, somewhere down the road, if they ever decide to do that. I'm not sure if Nintendo has publishing rights to it, so maybe that's not even gonna happen. It will stay on the freaking Wii U. And that's a shame, because at least they're not gonna make not nearly as much money. They're not gonna make profit off this game because it's not on the PS4 or the Xbox One, which has a much wider fan base, much wider demographic, and that's where all the cool gamers are. That's where all the true gamers are. Yeah, and that's it. This has been another episode of the True Gamer Reviews, and take it from me, a true gamer, Bayonetta 2 is garbage. It's not even worth it. If you're a true gamer, you're gonna check out some way better games out there. I believe, later this year they're coming out with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, some sort of advanced warfare type of game on the COD series. So that should be way better than this Bayonetta garbage. It's not even. Bayonetta is way too crappy to even keep talking about it anymore.